All men need to see this. You've got older women admitting to us what they're actually going to be using men for. Let's get into it.
This is just your daily reminder that every man is a loser until proven otherwise.
If a man wants to take me on a date moving
So
forward,
we starting off stupid. Go ahead.
I now require a $100 refundable deposit.
Just say you're selling it. But say you're selling it. You know, there's that other lady going around, blonde hair, that's doing the same thing. But I think her deposit is non-refundable. That's crazy.
A date.
Can we talk about how men don't offer to buy girls drinks at the bar anymore? I've been single for 6 years and I can count on one hand how many times a guy has offered to buy me a drink. But it's not just that, it's guys coming up and approaching girls in general is so scarce these days. I'm like, we as women have almost made it where we're like, leave us alone, so much to the point that they really are.
Y'all are not worth approaching, man. Y'all have told men not to approach. Don't come over here. Don't bother me. And when a man respects your wishes, then all of a sudden you're confused. I think that's the problem for a lot of men. It's like, you told us to leave you alone. Why are you now trying to reverse course and say, oh, no. You can come approach us. Well, certain men. And then when you start getting into all of that deep, certain men, if they got to look like this and they got to, forget it. I don't care. I don't care enough.
Because men want younger women. If a man is 40, there is no way he is looking for a 40-year-old.
Right.
There's no way.
But at 40, do women even want to go with a 40-year-old man? The 40-year-old women want to go with a 50-year-old man, do they not?
I'd say most of my friends who've got divorced and who've kind of had relationships, it's either they've tried very hard to have a relationship and they're all very attractive. They're just older.
Right.
They're just in the 50s, the 40s, whatever. They're just not in the 30s.
The caption says, just told him how I felt. It's crazy. And women.
I'm going to pass it on to you because you seem like a gentleman. Damn! And I feel like I would break your heart, and I don't want that.
What?
Why instead of doing something stupid, why don't you recognize, do modern women recognize how silly they sound? Instead of, well, no, I ain't going to do it because I would break your heart. You seem like a gentleman. So basically, you seem like the right guy. You seem like a good guy. And you know, I already know I'm going to be on some tomfoolery. I already know I'm going to be on some foolishness. So, you know, instead of straighten up, instead of starting to do the right thing, instead of saying, you know what, this could be a fresh start for me. I'm always talking about how I want a good man, how I want a gentleman, how I want a man to do things for me and to respect me. I'm always talking about that. Why don't I take now to get a fresh start? Instead, you say, you know what? I ain't going to do that. I'm going to continue on in my stupidity. And they think it sounds smart, but at least you're trying to save him. I guess.
Responsibility.
Hey, where are we finding good men? Like men that actually like us back and treat us well and be in a relationship? Because I was at drinks with my friends the other day and every single one of us is single, and also every single one of us has a thriving social life. We have
Nobody
hobbies.
cares.
We go to workout classes. We go to the gym. We have jobs in the office. We try to look approachable at the grocery store.
I don't think they know that people don't care about what they're talking about. We have a thriving social life. That's something that y'all care about. That's something that y'all are into. Modern women are so disconnected, bro. They're so disconnected to what men want, to what men are looking for. What in there is going to benefit a man? Tell me that. Like, what do you got going on that a man's like, oh, I need that? Nothing so far.
All trying. I feel like everyone is trying, and finding a good man these days,
They're not.
so hard.
Ugly girls and hoes created the feminism movement. I'm not gonna lie. So realistically,
I agree.
If you think about it, every time you are out and you see a pretty girl and she has an ugly friend with her, what does that ugly friend do? She instantly jumps into lesbian defense mode because she is an ugly Betty. The bitch is jealous. So when you try to talk to the cute girl, the ugly friend usually is like, leave her alone. She hates men. It's like, nah, bitch, you hate men. Back the.
You know what this reminds me of? I don't know if y'all seen that show on Netflix, His and Hers. It just came out, and it essentially was about it was about like a lie that was told. People, got eliminated and unalived and things of that nature. But it reminds me of, there's this one girl who's she's a little bit bigger, right? And people are talking trash to her. They disrespecting her. They don't really value her and things of that nature. They're downright mean, honestly and truly. But she decides to get back on at pretty much all of them by doing some stuff that she shouldn't be doing, right? Because nobody's paying attention to her. That's what this makes me think of. Modern women are upset. They get upset. There have been modern women that have talked about, a man doesn't approach me. I'm sitting at the bar with my friends, and I'm the only one. I'm the only one that don't get approached. Do you know why? Well, it's because maybe I'm intimidating. Maybe not. Maybe it's because you got RBF. Maybe it's because they see you as a person that's not fun to be around. Maybe you need to take better care of yourself. Maybe, you might be the prettiest in the group, but maybe, once again, the energy that you're giving off, the vibe that you're giving off is not great. And at some point in time, when you're hyping yourself up, you should say, oh, well, no, maybe they intimidated, but maybe also I could do a little bit better job of being nice.
Women find 80% of men disgusting.
Yep.
Men find 20% of women unattractive.
Right.
And so that asymmetry per se means that 10% of guys get turned into dark triad narcissists because they get all the action. They got a roster of women that they're getting, and the other 90% are going dry because there's no questions, there's no personality, there's no depth, there's no reason to fall in love with a guy if he doesn't pass the looks good on the dating profile.
This tall, you make this much money, and
exactly.
Well, you get emotionally detached, right? You got so many requests that you're fielding. You just, here's this woman talking about this, here's this woman talking about that. And I don't know if it's a dark triad, but these men, they just don't, some of these guys just don't care, right? They weren't really that great of a person to begin with. Because you have some good looking guys out there that genuinely great dudes, great people, right? But these guys that you're talking about, the 20%, these guys have been out here hustling, doing other things to build themselves up so that they can be in this position to have everything that they want, basically. And it's your job as the woman to say, this good looking guy over here actually likes me, and actually go for him. This is actually a good man. He might not be a 10 out of 10, but he's a 7 out of 10. And when he put a suit on, he's an 8 or a 9 out of 10. He's looking good, and he got his hair cut. He's got his beard trimmed. He's looking great, right? But modern women will see all of that, then they'll turn and say, I'd rather date the man with the money. I'd rather date the man that's got this issue. And what they try to do is monopolize a man's time. And honestly, they're attracting. I understand the man's a bad person, but these modern women are attracting. They're attracting who they are. You're talking about the dark triad, narcissist and stuff like that. You're attracting who you are, or else you wouldn't be over there. You'd be completely happy with the fairly good looking guy. Even if the guy is like a 6 or a 6 and a 6.5, and he puts on a suit, he goes into like a 7.5 or 8. He's got his haircut and his beard trimmed and all that stuff, 7.5 or an 8. You're attracted to that narcissistic guy because that's who you are inside. And I think we need to be honest about that. Quite honestly.
And this is why, this is how it's messing up dating.
Call me crazy, but I do not want equality with men. I don't want to pay for my own dinner, or hold the door for myself, or have to look at a bill, or to have to make the tough decisions, or give up my jacket when they're cold.
Okay.
I think the obvious question after that is, what are you going to be doing then? Because I know you want to talk about, I don't want to do this anymore, but the problem is you guys keep on doing that. Right? You do that over and over again, and the man is sitting here telling you, hey, I think my way is a little bit better. I don't have it all together, but I think you and I, if we get together and we put our heads together, we can be a pretty good team. No, I'm a strong, independent woman. I don't need that. I don't want to do that. Right? You keep on saying that until you sit up in your car and be like, oh, well, I think he's right. I don't think I want to do that anymore. I don't think I want to do that anymore. Got to be careful with that, because by the time y'all figure out that you don't want to do that type of stuff anymore, that man beat and moved on.
When they're cold, or wake up early to go to work while they sleep in, or have to initiate and plan dates, or be the leader of my household. Call me crazy, it's just not for me.
And if I keep calling your phone and you're not answering and you think I'm gonna crash out, whoop-de-doo.
Oh, hell no.
Yo, I changed my mind. I don't want to be independent anymore. I don't want to do this. I am now accepting applications for a man who wants to pay me $5,000 a month and then never speak to me.
That's crazy. I'm now, y'all don't understand. Y'all are no longer in that position, right? When you had more going for you than you were in that position, you have to understand. Let's say there's this nonsense about, you're 30 and you hitting the wall. Okay. Let's say all of that's nonsense. There was one man that I was listening to just recently. He talked about wanting to, he said I had a fantasy of starting a family, right? Somebody working alongside me, or I think he said somebody being there with me and me working to build a dream. And he said he talked to some women, and those ladies didn't fancy that. They didn't want to do it. Oh, you just want me to work. You just want me to be a slave and to break my back. And he said, okay. And so he went and dated another woman. And then the women came back around and saw him dating that other woman. And they got mad at him because he decided to move on and find somebody else that liked him. Said he was trying to do something. I think he was trying to build something. And the woman was like, what are you doing that for? Why are you doing that? That you let me do that. I can do that for you. Oh, okay. Well, shoot. Let me back up. I'm thinking of another one on that same topic where they were about to go out on a date. And the man said, I know what she's about to do. So he went in there and started clipping his nails, just kind of grooming himself. The woman hears that. She runs out and say, hey, what you doing? That's my job. You let me take care of you. Okay. I mean, would I require that? No, I wouldn't require that. But, that's what she liked to do. That's what she wanted to do, as, something that pleased her and, made him look good. I want you. Now, it might have been, purely selfish because she said, well, he don't cut his nails right. He trying to, get involved in certain places and stick his hand in certain places. And he be cutting me. So I'm going to make sure, his nails where they supposed to be and how they supposed to be, but that's something that she wanted to do. That's something she did to take care of him versus, oh, well, I ain't going to do that. And you're not going to be working like me. You ain't gonna be working me. Right. They say that type of stuff. And then when a man moves on, all of a sudden we got women like this. Oh, I'm taking applications. You ain't taking nothing. You take a ticket number and you have a seat. It's like you going to the DMV. We'll call you whenever we ready. That's what these modern women don't understand, man. That's what I don't understand.
I mean, the entitlement. You got a hijab on, but you just saw when you cannot talk.
Wants to.
That's what she just said. That's what alimony and child support's for. This woman actually and
pay me and just
deal with you. They don't want to be on your thumb, but they want your resources.
For a man who wants to pay me $5,000 a month and then never speak to me, pay all of my bills and then just go away, please. Ooh, tell me why I just had to pay $400 to replace 2 tires. $400 that I don't have. My bills, please inquire.
And there it is. And here it is. Just like that other lady. Well, I'm tired of doing it all by myself. The cost of living is getting high. I think I might need a man. All of a sudden, that 50% discount don't sound so bad. All of a sudden, Me listening to a man don't sound that bad, or living with a man, because you ain't trying to listen to him. Me living with a man, me splitting bills with this man is what it is. By the time you get your business and you get up, you save maybe $1,000 or $2,000 a month and go do whatever you want. Then you start working on your business and, oh, well, you know, I'm profitable now, and then leave my, he just never really elevated. He never really got on the same level as me. That's because he spent all his time taking care of you and putting the extra money that he had towards dates and vacations and presents for you and roses, while you didn't spend nothing on him. You spent it all on your business. So yeah, that makes sense.
Within. I don't want to do this anymore.
Some of you want to marry some old dusty fart. You have to wake up to him every morning. Just get a job. Like, just work. It's not that bad.
How many guys you knocking down on spring break? Because it seems like you're just going wild.
It's going pretty
How
crazy.
many guys you knocked down?
Hashi. We lost count after like 12.
12 guys on spring break.
Yeah.
How many more guys you knocking down?
On a regular weekend, I'd probably say 3.
3 on a regular weekend? On a regular weekend? How are you doing that on a regular? Is that Monday, Wednesday? Are we talking about a weekend as Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Or are we talking about a weekend as Saturday, Sunday? It doesn't matter what it is. What are you doing? Is I guess what my question is. On a regular weekend 3? How are you marketing? Are you advertising? What are you doing? Who are these men that you're getting to come in? Are you Bonnie Blue? Or what's Lily Phillips? Are you Lily Phillips? What do you guys got going on? Please stop this. This is not cute. I know you'll probably think that this is funny and this is an accomplishment. It's not. It's not. 3, 6, 9, 12 dudes on a regular basis. Even if you skip a week, that's still 6. If you do it every other week, that's still 6. I mean, even if you did that one weekend, 3 times 12 is 36. 36 bodies in a year. Are you joking? And you know it's probably going to go up around the holidays because you, quote, have nothing to do, end quote. You could end off the year conservatively if you're only doing this once a week or once a month. If you're doing this once a month, say 36, you go crazy during the holidays. And I mean every holiday. You got to allow for spring break. Oh man, I'm going to have at least 2 or 3 of them every day, Monday through whenever we leave. That's what, 3 times 5, that's another 15 plus I guess the regular that you're going to have. Well, take 3 away because you have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? It's too much math. But all I'm saying is, yeah, it's too much math. I should be able to count on my hand what you got going on. But y'all out here acting reckless. Come on, man. I understand fun, but my God.
I went through my husband's phone and now I'm divorcing him. So let's get into it. So first I want to preface this by saying that as a wife, if I ever want to look through my husband's phone, I have the full right to do that. And if he wants to look through my phone, he knows my passcode, like he can look through my phone whenever he wants to. But as the wife, if I'm ever feeling insecure or weird, like there are times in our relationship where we're not doing the best, we're really distant, and I feel like I need to do that to gain some clarity and to feel better, I feel like I should be able to do that. So my husband and I have been having a lot of issues for the last few months. We've been super distant, sleeping in separate rooms. We're not having sex, like nothing at all. We're pretty much like roommates. And, you know, as a woman, to my women, that gut feeling that you get, our intuition that is so incredibly strong and annoyingly always correct. So I had that the other night. And I recognized it and I went to him and I said, hey, I am feeling a certain way. I'm feeling kind of insecure. I'm having like a bad feeling in my belly and I would like to look through your phone. And he said, okay, you can look through my phone. I said, great. Can you go get it for me? And it was dead and he had to go and get it from his work bag or something and charge it. And all of a sudden he got really, really quiet after he said, yes, I can go through your phone. So after about 5 minutes of silence, I finally ask him again, can you go get your phone? I'm going to put it on the charger and look at it. And he goes, I don't think you should look at my phone. Okay. So he knows that I'm going to find something in there that's upsetting because he said, I don't think it's a good idea. We already haven't been in a good place and you're not going to be happy with what you find. Now I have to see it. Okay. Now I absolutely have to see it. So I demand it at this point, and it takes a long time for him to turn it over, but eventually he does. And I go upstairs to the bedroom. I put it on the charger. I lock the door and I start going through it. So I may not go over everything in detail because it's redundant at this point. It doesn't really matter, but he's going out to the bars with his friends, which I didn't have any problem with him doing, but he's giving out his phone number and telling girls that he's single. And it's interesting, like my husband has like a tattoo of like our initials on his ring finger. So like even when he's not wearing his wedding ring, like it's very, I mean, if you're paying attention, it's pretty obvious that he's a married man. I digress. He's texting women that he's single. He went over to a coworker's house. She doesn't know that he's married. Like she's single. He went over to her house and did God knows what. So after finding all of that, one thing that I want to preface this by saying is that, like women, if you're still around, if you are looking through your man's phone, be ready to leave him. You must be ready to leave your man if you're going through his phone, because otherwise, what's the point of even doing it? Just to hurt your feelings? No, if you find something with that gut feeling that you had that is enough to leave that man, you must do it. And because I love myself and respect myself, I'm going to choose not to stay with somebody, even though we've had a really great relationship. He makes me very happy most of the time. I'm going to choose not to stay with someone who treats me that way and who goes off and disrespects me like that after 10 years. So this is going to be very interesting. I've never been married before and I've never divorced anyone. So I have no idea how to divorce someone. So this will be very interesting, learning the process of separating things. But honestly, like, I know that sometimes it's going to be hard, but like this is for the best. And you know what? That's just how I feel today. And tomorrow I might be a total damn wreck. But if you stay this long, thanks. And stay tuned to watch me become shattered and a mess and then happy and then laughing. Like, I have no idea how this is going to go. So wish me luck.
I'm going to tell you something that you might not have known. Because I thought I heard that y'all was having problems. Right? I thought I heard you say that y'all wouldn't sleep in the same bedroom and y'all was pretty much at this point roommates. Did anybody else hear that? I thought I did. Let me go ahead and scroll back over here, see what she's talking about.
I went through my husband's phone and now I'm divorcing him. So let's get into it. So first I want to preface this by saying that as a wife, if I ever want to look through my husband's phone, I have the full right to do that. And if he wants to look through my phone, he knows my passcode, like he can look through my phone whenever he wants to. But as the wife, if I'm ever feeling insecure or weird, like there are times in our relationship where we're not doing the best, we're really distant, and I feel like I need to do that to gain some clarity and to feel better, I feel
so you need to check his phone to see if he's still faithful to you, because you know you've been on some tomfoolery. You know you've been on that BS. And you say to yourself, I know if it were anybody else, I was doing this too, they would have been gone. They would have been up out of here. But you know what? Taylor, it is your floor. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Like I should be able to do that. So my husband and I have been having a lot of issues for the last few months. We've been super distant, sleeping in separate rooms. We're not having sex, like nothing at all. We're pretty much like roommates. And
so you said, I thought you said, y'all have been doing this on and off. And then you decided for the past few months, well, both of you mutually, we're going to sleep in separate bedrooms. We're not going to be getting it on. And we're more so like roommates at this point. But I'm feeling insecure. So when I feel insecure, regardless of the state we're in, I need you to, maybe I'm thinking about it wrong. I need you to help me feel secure, even though I'm not giving you what you probably need. And that's intimacy. But I still want to be reassured. So give me that phone. I'm not going to sleep with you. I'm not going to give you anything that you really actually want. You're just really on your own, sir. But I'm feeling insecure. And I had that pesky, annoying gut feeling. It's not really a gut feeling. It's more of a cause and effect at this point in time. If y'all are roommates for a few months and nothing is going on, he's basically single at that point. I mean, obviously, for the purposes of being married, for better or for worse, for sure, obviously, yes, absolutely, he should not be doing that. Absolutely. But even when you're saying, well, he was out there and he was going out with coworkers, you don't really know if he was actually sleeping with these women, to be honest with you. He might have been flirting with them and say he went home with a coworker. Well, probably. If he went home with a coworker, then he probably did something. But we don't know that for sure, right? My point is that really wasn't a gut feeling. That was just you wanting to stir chaos and drama. And I bet y'all argued about it. And I bet you got what you wanted again. Out here hollering and screaming. And I want to ask you, has this ever been the case until now that you went to that man's phone and found something? That'd be my question. Has it ever been the case that you've picked up his phone and found something that wasn't supposed to be there? Or was it this time, after y'all had been not kind of on speaking terms for a few months? We need to answer that. We need to answer that question. I know you like to get on here and look cute and all that stuff. I get it. But they like to present themselves as perfect, and that pesky, that ain't no gut feeling. That's you figuring out that you can't hold out forever.
You know, as a woman, to my women, that gut feeling that you get, our intuition that is so incredibly strong and annoyingly always correct. So I had that the other night and I recognized it, and I went to him and I said, hey, I am feeling a certain way. I'm feeling kind of insecure. I'm having like a bad feeling in my belly, and I would like to look through your phone.
Comfort me. Comfort me.
And he said, okay, you can look through my phone. I said, great, can you go get it for me? And it was dead, and he had to go and get it from his work bag or something and charge it. And all of a sudden, he got really, really quiet after he said, yes, I can go through your phone. So after about 5 minutes of silence, I finally asked him again, can you go get your phone? I'm going to put it on the charger and look at it. And he goes, I don't think you should look at my phone. Okay. So he knows that I'm going to find something in there that's upsetting, because he said, I don't think it's a good idea. We already haven't been in a good place, and you're not going to be happy with what you find. Now I have to see it, okay? Now I absolutely have to see it. So I demanded at this point, and it takes a long time for him to turn it over, but eventually he does, and I go upstairs to the bedroom, I put on the charger, I lock the door, and I start going through it. So I may not go over everything in detail because it's redundant at this point, it doesn't really matter, but he's going out to the bars with his friends, which I didn't have any problem with him doing, but he's giving out his phone number and telling girls that he's single. And it's interesting, like my husband has like a tattoo of like our initials on his ring finger. So like even when he's not wearing his wedding ring, like it's very, I mean, if you're paying attention, it's pretty obvious that he's a married man. I digress. He's texting women that he's single. He went over to a coworker's house. She doesn't know that he's married. Like she's single. He went over to her house and did God knows what. So after finding all of that, one thing that I want to preface this by saying is that, like, women, if you're still around, if you are...
I guess my problem with that is you were probably checked out as well. I mean, there might have been something that turned it around, but I think it sounds like y'all are really on your last leg. It sounds to me like he was tired of going through that. Like he was tired of... because once again, y'all like to paint yourselves as the victims in this scenario, which once again, he shouldn't have done what he did. I don't agree with that. But I also don't agree with, once again, you thinking that you can just hold out and not give him what he needs. And if he's texting people that he's single, he's probably doing that for a reason, in my opinion. Well, I am saying, we don't even talk. Y'all sleeping in separate bedrooms. Y'all not saying nothing to know each other. Y'all not going on dates. Y'all not spending no time with each other. Y'all not saying 2 words to each other, right? But you still view him as your property. That's what you still view him as. And so you're thinking, okay, well, I want you to respond when I want you to respond. Honestly, I think maybe there's some stuff that's going on that you felt like, well, he's not buying down to what I want. He's not doing exactly how I want. He's not doing the things that I want him to do. And you got upset by that. And so, well, don't talk to me. I ain't sleeping in the same bedroom, yada, yada, yada. So now you are like roommates because you don't want to have anything to do with him because he's not doing the things that you want him to do. Y'all not seeing eye to eye on things, right? And so now, once again, you want to put him literally this time in a room away and then leave him in a dark corner somewhere until he grovels, until he bows down, until he finally does what you want him to do. That's just my opinion. I could be dead wrong. I could be dead wrong about that. But it seems like with this whole cycle of, well, here we are again. And this time it's for a few months. When you say a few months, probably been a little bit longer than that. A few months, we ain't been speaking. Essentially, without labeling it, y'all are separated. Is essentially what it is. And he probably got tired. He's probably saying, well, if that's the case, then I'm gonna go do what I'm doing and go from there. So, y'all can divorce, do whatever you think is best, but let's not act like he's the only one that's wrong in here.
Ladies, have we read the comments in my posts? Have we seen who the negative comments are coming from? The men are so mad. They're so mad at my divorce story. And man, point made, right? I see why he cheated. What did you do to get him to cheat on you? He's gonna be so much happier without you. Oh my God. They are so mad, but you know what? Their comments and all of the activity is still activity. So you're just pushing my posts more and more. Thank you so much. I now have 15,000 followers in 2 weeks from my divorce story. And I want to thank the men for that, for pushing out my story and all of their negative comments. But really, it's all women. Most of my followers are all women. The ones that I really want here, the ones that I really want by my side, behind me, defending me, it's the women. So welcome. Congrats for being here. I'm so happy to have 15K of you. And you know what? I think for a while, I'm going to stop posting about my divorce and I'm going to talk about me and who I am and how my eyelashes look like this and how I curl my hair and my fitness regimen, which all of you are asking about. And I'm not going to give the men any more attention. Have a great day, you guys.
Well, you're welcome. Glad we could have helped. That's what men have been doing this whole entire time in your life, is helping you to get to your goals. So, glad we could be of service and assistance. One guy here says, you're welcome. Are the comments negative or you just disagree? That's it. You just disagree with it. That's what it is. We could sit up here and talk about what men are saying, and maybe there's some negative comments that are out of pocket, but it's time for you to observe what's actually the issue instead of saying, oh, well, men are this and men are that. What did you do in the relationship? Modern women are so focused on curating a certain image, a certain look, to where it wasn't me. It wasn't my fault. I'm the victim here. Yeah, maybe he did something wrong, and I think she had a kid. You mean to tell me y'all are in the house with a kid when all of this stuff is going on? Okay. Bro, I'm going down this rabbit hole. Bro, Somebody in the comments said this video explains his response. Another guy says, I wanted a divorce 30 seconds into this. She put this video out 5 days ago, bro. I might tag HL Talk That Thought in this. Bro, cover this, bro. All of this. He likes to go on rants. Or like his whole thing is like divorced women stories and regret. HL, bro, get on this.
So last night I approached my soon-to-be ex-husband and I asked him straight up, so it seems like you've wanted this divorce for a long time. And it seems like you purposefully sabotaged the end of our relationship so that I would break up with you. So in a moment where you saw that I was already having a hard time because we weren't in a good place, and I'm really stressed with—
What? What? How can I make this more about me? Now that previous video was her announcing, oh, look, I got 15K off of you guys. Oh, look at the men. They complaining and da, so thank you. And you know, the saying is going to hold true. Yeah, she might be pretty, but somewhere there's a man that's tired of her crap.
Work, and I have a lot of stuff going on with just being a mom and being a full-time fitness instructor teaching 20 classes a week. Why didn't you just tell me that you wanted a divorce? Why couldn't—
So you can give your all of those classes, you can give your everything, your passion, you can stay faithful to those 20 classes, but you can't stay faithful and loyal to the commitment that you made in this relationship? Oh, okay. All right. So you think it's okay for somebody to sleep in another room? Oh, we not having no sex. We're not doing none of that. Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm not sure what you're expecting. I'm really not.
You just say it up front? And you know what he said? He said, I don't know, I was just scared. You were scared. Okay. So in a moment where I was already having a hard time, you chose to make my life harder and do something like talk to other women and let me find it and not be apologetic when you do and say, yeah, and I'm probably going to keep doing it so that I would break up with you in a moment where I was already struggling. You chose to make my life harder. You know what? I'll never forget that. And I'll never forgive you for that. And you're a coward. And he said, yeah, I guess I am. Because you were too afraid to just come to me and say, Taylor, this isn't working for me. I want a divorce. You had to sabotage and do things to where I would leave you and put me in a mental fuck and make me feel devalued and insecure and terrible about myself so that I would break up with you.
When did you think it is? How did you think it is? Between which class? Which session did you think it is? I mean, this is great. This is Hollywood level acting. This really is, man. Now, I don't doubt that this woman is genuinely, I think she feels betrayed because it's like, man, even in the worst of times, I didn't expect this from you. Like, we 10 years in, man. You couldn't have come to me and said, hey, I don't think that this is working. I'm out, and then started the process. You just sat there and did what you did. And then, it's kind of like that's for her. I think they were already done, to be honest with you. Maybe I said that earlier, but I think they were already done. But I feel like just listening to her continue to talk, this was like the last straw. I mean, I feel like with the way that y'all are going, you were going to get a divorce anyway. It's just he expedited the process by doing this. Like I think you were still holding out hope that maybe there would be something in there that would cause, just you weren't going to work on it. He wasn't going to work on it, but maybe an act of God, just maybe some sort of snowstorm or something like that, which to all the people that are going through that right now, you were thinking, okay, in a snowstorm, we really bonded together and everything. Ever since then, things have changed. We're back to the fun-loving couple that we were. And, you know, we're better than ever, basically. But when he did this, it was like the last act of betrayal where, you know, I didn't, you know, even as low as everything can be, I didn't expect you to do this, right? And you're once again, you're sitting up here like you're so stunned by a person that would do this, but you're not stunned in what you contributed to the problem. I think that's what my whole issue is. You're sitting up here acting like this man did you completely wrong and you had nothing to do with it. You were just a complete bystander in whatever was happening.
I went through my husband's phone and now I'm divorcing him. And this is part 2 of how he reacted when I came downstairs with his phone. First of all, like, I want to say the commitment from people for this side of the story, I just find really interesting. Like, the fact that people care so much about my story, I just find, like, really interesting. Like, I didn't really think anyone would care about this. So here we go. I would not consider myself a very calm person. When I get angry, calm is not the way that I tend to deal with things. But in this situation, for some reason, I felt very, very calm when I went downstairs to confront him about his phone. I gave him his phone very peacefully and I said, "Thank you so much." And he said, "So how mad are you right now?" I stayed very calm the whole time. I looked right at him and I said, "You know what? Not as mad as you might think." And then we kind of started to go into some things. One thing that I did not mention in my first video, because it's kind of personal, but, you know, I don't really care about putting him on blast at this point because he embarrassed me, is that my husband has been holding out on Smexy time from me for many, many months. And that's another thing that I want to address, because some people in the comments assumed, oh, well, if your roommates living in separate rooms, if you were not having Smexy time with him, then no wonder he cheated. First of all, like, ew. Second of all, I was always open for business. Every single day, all the time, I'm always open for business. He was saying that he didn't want to because he's been having hormone issues lately. So we have not been doing that. And when I went through his phone, I found that he was watching porn every single day. So from my experience, he has always done this thing where when he gets in trouble, he doesn't want to feel like he's in trouble like a little kid. So he turns into like this very hurtful person, which is another reason why I'm leaving him. So when I confronted him about the corn, he laughed in my face and he said, "Oh yeah, I love corn. That's probably never going to stop." And I said, "But like, I have been asking you for Smexy time." And he goes, "Yeah, well, we haven't been talking. We haven't been in a good place, but I love corn." And then another jab that he gave me, I think just, again, to hurt my feelings and try to make himself feel bigger and better than me at that point, was when I brought up that, like, hey, I know that we've been in a bad place, but, like, we're still married. His excuse was, "Well, listen, you haven't been talking to me. We haven't been in a good place. Like, what do you expect? When I don't get what I need from you, I go to other women for validation." And I said, "Man, you must be really insecure if when we're not in a great place, you have to seek out validation from other women. And I feel bad for you."
So first of all, I don't think that he's, you know, necessarily right for looking at that stuff. But you guys have to understand that, and I feel like, and I made this comment to her, how come your gut wasn't working when, you know, he was feeling a certain way? And this is the way right here. Like, we weren't talking, and I feel like, you know, we're not in a good place. So he's not going to want to give it to you if, like, he feels disrespected. That's simple psychology 101. And I know what she's trying to do right now, and I don't really appreciate, is trying to make it seem like, well, I didn't do anything wrong. I wasn't the issue in this situation. No, you were part of the problem. Your disrespect was part of the problem. Number one. Number two, and I think she's a single mom, or she was a single mom. So he was taking care of all of that. So he's probably becoming, like, he's probably last priority. Kids coming first and all that stuff. But, you know, I had my initial thoughts about it, but then I wanted to go get her full story and see exactly what she's talking about. Because maybe I got some things wrong, or maybe I didn't understand some things. So let's continue.
So again, he kind of like smiled and said, "Yeah, well, you weren't talking to me, and I love getting attention from other women when you don't give me what I need. So that's probably never going to end. I'm probably going to do that for forever." And listen, like, ladies, as I say all of this stuff out loud, I hope that you ladies get just as irritated for me as I am for myself to be treated that way by somebody that I was married to for 10 years. Nobody deserves that. Like, it's not just me, but nobody deserves to be looked at and said, "Yeah, I know I did these things. I'm probably going to continue to do them though." So at that point, I knew it was over. He made it very clear that he didn't want to repair that at all. He didn't seem remorseful at all. So I took a deep breath, gave him a big smile, and I said, "Okay, well, let's get working on filing I don't really know the process to that, so I need to do a little bit of research, but I'd like to get filed by next month and get all of this stuff sorted out. At this point, you are now single. You want to act like you're single and pretend that you're single. You are now single. You may see, talk to, and do whatever you want, and I am going to do the same, and let's file for divorce next month. And he said, okay. But trust me when I say this story is not over. Now, you see, my mother-in-law was due to be in town 12 hours after this discovery. So when he asked me, he said, Taylor, can you just be chill while my mom's in town? Like, she doesn't need to know anything that's going on. I said, oh, no. Oh, no. I'm going to tell your mother everything. And that story, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go through tomorrow.
So she's vengeful. She's spiteful, is what I'm getting. And I understand during this process, because he said, so, are you angry? He's like, surprisingly, no, right? Given what I've just seen, no, I just think that, it's not really a lot that can happen to make you be able to come back from this, right? So let's talk about it. You have this, and this going on. What I think we're leaving out and what we're not hearing from her is why he got to the point to where he felt that way. Because at this level of not caring, why do you not care? Why do you not? We're married for 10 years. How come you don't care about what's going on with us? How come you don't care about my feelings? How come you don't care that you're going out here messing around? And why do you say that things are never going to change? Why do you say that you're going to continue to watch these things when you know it hurts me? What's his response to that? Right? I think that's the question that I have. Because we can sit up here and demonize the man all we want, but why does he feel that way? I always want men to be open to you guys and what you guys are talking about, but we never get to the root cause of why we got here.
Okay, so here we are. I'm going to set the scene. I just found out that my husband has been unfaithful to me, and his mother was due to come into town to visit him for his birthday 12 hours after I found out. Now, he asked me to be chill during the time that his mother was around and not say anything, and I said, oh no, I will be telling your mother absolutely everything. Here's how it went. So honestly, I thought when I gave him a heads up that I would be telling his mother everything, that he would try to beat me to the punch. He's got a long drive home from the airport to our house. So knowing that I was going to tell his mom, I kind of just assumed that he would tell her on the trip home. Well, that didn't happen. So her and I had been planning this nice dinner that we were going to celebrate his birthday, and we were all going to go, and her and I were planning it on where we were going to go. It was going to be my soon-to-be ex-husband, myself, my son, and her, and we were going to go out to dinner. So she finally gets into the house, and this dinner is supposed to happen, right? And I tell her, I say, hey, I'm going to send you and him to celebrate the birthday on your own. And she goes, why? What do you mean? Like, she was shocked, right? And I just looked over at him, and I said, oh, you didn't tell her, did you? She looks at him. He looks at me. I look at her. She looks at me. What's going on? She makes a connection. Something's not right. And I say,
and here we go again with my gut feeling. She makes the connection that something wasn't right. Well, yeah, you just said with your attitude, well, I'm going to send you guys to go to dinner alone. And so anybody with a brain would say, well, why are you not coming? Even if you didn't have an attitude, they would have said, well, why are you not coming along? That's what would have been said. So what you want is her to ask you what's going on and why you're not coming, to which you can dish and tell her. But go ahead.
Okay. Well, we should probably talk. And he goes, I don't really think now is the time. Like, this is not a great time. And I said, okay, we can talk later. And then for the whole rest of the weekend, I hung out with my son, my happy place, the entire weekend, and I let them go off and do what they were going to do and have mother-son time. Now, backwards a little bit. When I first found out about my husband's infidelity, the first person I called was my sister-in-law because she's like my best friend, and I tell her everything. So I called her. She's pissed for me, okay? I was a little nervous to tell his family because I didn't want to feel like they would pressure me to stay and make it work with him. Well, they didn't do that. She very much had my back, and she said, absolutely not. Get the heck out of there. He doesn't deserve you, and you should tell my mother everything, and you should tell her when he's around and embarrass him. And I'm like, that sounds good. I'm gonna do that. I had one opportunity to talk to this woman, and it was really just because she was busy with him all weekend and I was working all weekend with my son. So I had one opportunity the morning that she was going to leave. We sat in the kitchen and grabbed a cup of coffee, and I looked at her and I said, okay, are you ready to hear what's going on? And she kind of paused and she goes, yep. So I unload. I tell her everything. I leave nothing behind, no details. Even about the corn, I tell her everything. And she just sits there and listens. And let me just say, like, this woman is so kind. She's so kind and so sweet. She would never hurt a fly. So it was hard to tell her because I know that she loves her son and she worries about him. And I think, like, ultimately the way that I felt in this conversation was that she was worried for her son based on how he was acting. Did I feel like I had her support? No. Honestly, if I'm being frank,
No, you don't have her support. Why would you? And his sister, it's just as silly. It's just as silly. Hey, I'm sorry that happened. Instead of, I think this is the problem. Instead of managing the situation and saying, Mom, we, she got some stuff that she's doing, and, she's really busy. Yeah, I'm really busy, right? It's not like you're trying to hide anything, but you're talking about being married. You're angry at the betrayal, right? And so you're thinking of ways, which is probably the issue that you guys are having. You're thinking of ways to get back at him and exert your will and your force. You think that might be why he's not having a great time in this marriage, right? Because he's there, but he's not there. He's done. He don't want to be there no more, right? Maybe there's some benefits to being in the relationship with you, but as far as being with you, no, this is in that way it's run its course, right? So you say, because you've essentially, what you've been doing is you say you only had a certain opportunity, one opportunity, but really had multiple opportunities. You were just trying to think of a way to drop all of that and make yourself look like poor little old me. And you talk about, well, I didn't feel like I had her support. Well, of course not, because that's her son. So she's trying to figure out how to get her son better. She's worried about her son, just like you would be worried about your son as a mother, which isn't his son, by the way. But, continue on.
I don't really feel like she was thinking about what I have gone through. I think she was thinking about her son, which is fine. Like that's your son. I get it. But she kind of said something really interesting to me that I kind of I don't know, didn't really like. Now let's take a step back and talk about my son really quick. I have an 11-year-old son. He is not the son of my soon-to-be ex-husband. I have a baby daddy. We were never married, but my soon-to-be ex-husband and I met when my son was a year old. He has been around for my son's entire life. He has seen first words, first steps, all of the things, but unfortunately never showed up as a stepdad. He told me a little bit ago that he didn't love my son. He just never was what my son needed. And so while I've been married and with this man for 10 years, I have been a single mom. My soon-to-be ex-husband does not help me with parenting at all. I have parented that child by myself, and he's my son, so that is my responsibility.
Yeah, so you'll get no sympathy there. That's your child, right? But of course, we know it's all his fault. He's just, you guys were married for what, 10 years, you say? And it's all his fault. What else? What else is it? I'm sure there's going to be something else.
But my son comes above everything. My son comes before my soon-to-be ex-husband. He has always been at the forefront and the whole priority of my entire life. I take parenting him very seriously, and my soon-to-be ex-husband does not like that my son comes before him. Listen, I know this video is getting really long.
Exactly, and that's what pretty much every man can see coming from a mile away. You want that man to, and mind you, this has been going on for 10 years. Right? This has been going on for 10 years. You've been putting your son ahead of this man for 10 years. Never the priority. Never gets, you take that seriously. You take your career seriously, but you don't take your husband seriously. Your husband's more so a duty to you, right? I like that. Got to take care of him. There's certain things that I like, but I'm a boss, babe. I'm a bad bee. I'm a girl boss, right? That's the vibe. So, once again, I don't agree with the cheating in looking at websites, but it doesn't take intuition to see this coming from a mile away. You don't seem to be very engaged, and that's kind of what he's saying without saying that. Right? You have some perks to you, but
almost there. So the way that I felt when I told my mother-in-law about all of this is that I almost felt a little bit of like she was putting some blame on me for the reason that we've been in such a bad place. I was talking to her about the issues that my soon-to-be ex-husband was having with my son, that he told me that he didn't love him and that he resents him, and that's just for a whole nother story. Sir, you are an adult. I am not responsible for raising you anymore. That actually was my mother-in-law's job. But I take being a mother very seriously, and my son is my priority number one always, and that will never change. So when she came in and made me feel like she was questioning of whether or not I should be putting my 11-year-old son over her 33-year-old son, it just didn't feel great to me.
And this is something that you probably told your soon-to-be ex-husband, right? Well, that's never going to change. Y'all have probably had issues with this in the past to where he felt like there was, not much that in terms of attention that you were really giving him. Like he felt like, hey, man, it's been 10 years in the game. How come I'm not getting any more respect than this? And so, like I said, one thing leads to another. I mean, and like he said, he actually did say that if you're not going to give me any validation, any attention, because I'm the last priority, right? If you're not going to give me any attention and validation, then maybe I go find it elsewhere. But we're still married. I didn't get into this relationship to not get paid attention to always become the last priority. That's not what I signed up for. And I think you know that. Modern women always looking to make sure that they're taken care of, son is taken care of. I secured a man that's going to take care of my child. I want that man to treat him like he's his own. But my son is going to come first, priority. That's always going to be. And what did you say? That's never going to change. What did he say about looking up adult sites and whatever else? He said that ain't never going to change. So it sounds like both of y'all are drawing lines in the sand, and you mad at him for drawing this line, but you've been drawing some lines yourself. Interesting.
And that's what happened. Do I need to probably have a conversation with her about how that made me feel? Yeah, but ultimately, it is what it is. We are divorcing, we are separating, and my son is still going to be at the forefront, number one of my life, everywhere, all the time, every single day, and that's how I'm choosing to parent him. So my husband told me that he doesn't love his stepson, and that most of the time he doesn't even like him, and what do you know, now we're getting divorced. Let's talk about parenting for one moment. My soon-to-be ex-husband and I have been together for over 10 years, and my son is 11 years old. So it's not that just a couple of years that my soon-to-be ex-husband has been around. He has seen first steps, first words, first day of kindergarten, first day of every single grade. He's seen big milestones. He's watched sporting games. He has watched this kid grow up. And my son is a really good kid. And I know that a lot of mothers say that, but I really mean it. My son has manners, please and thank you. He's very sweet. He never argues with me. He is so kind, so intelligent, and so emotionally mature.
Oh, look at that. He's such a sweet kid. I really mean it, because my word stands above everybody else's. Oh, would you look at that? He's such a good kid. So now I'm going to use that to contrast with my soon-to-be ex-husband, because he's not a nice man. He's such a meanie.
I will address people in the comments very briefly. I have some people that are saying, why would you marry someone when you knew they didn't love their kid? Oh my God, we didn't start there. Oh my gosh, we did not start there. I did not marry my husband knowing that he didn't love my son. This is a very recent issue. This is a conversation that we had on December 1st, our 10-year anniversary, when he told me that he really doesn't like my son and that he resents him for the fact that I put him first and that my son is priority to me above anything else. And you know what? That's okay, because that's never going to change. So on December 1st, when we had that conversation, that's when I knew I was done. Okay, that's when I knew I was finished. I'm like, I'm so gone. Like, you don't love this child that you have raised kind of for 10 years, this kid that you've seen grow up, this kid that is a direct reflection of me. Because
and that's why and bingo. And that's why you're getting cheated on. That right there. You don't care nothing about what he got going on. Oh, it didn't start that way. It sure didn't. Because he saw little man, it was like, oh man, it's a great kid. He's 1 year old. He's 1 year old. So you're not going to hate him. Hey, it's a package deal. It's cool. Hey, I love her. So we're going to figure this thing out. But like most stepdads, or a lot of stepdads out there, he sees, oh, wait a minute. She's not making me the priority at all. As a matter of fact, she kind of put me on the back burner. Feel disrespected. And he probably brought that up to you once again. But you don't care, because you're still dying on that hill. I'm never going to change this. It's the way it's going to be. And another comment I want to address, when you said something about, well, I need to probably have a conversation with his mom, my soon-to-be ex-mother-in-law, about how it made me feel when she really didn't show me the support that I thought she should have. Because, you know, my soon-to-be ex-sister-in-law showed me a lot of support. And so I'm expecting her as a woman to understand and be like, oh yeah, dog my son out. Shut your stupid behind up.
I have poured everything in my life into raising him properly. You're going to tell me that you don't love him and that you want me to put you, a 33-year-old man, first over raising an 11-year-old boy? Absolutely not. So on our 10-year anniversary, I told him, I said, yeah, I'm done. You need help. You need to go to therapy. And he said, okay, Taylor, let's go to therapy. Like, let's try to figure this out. And I said, great. Okay. January is your month. You have to hire the therapist, book the appointment. You know my schedule with work. Just tell me when to be there and I will be there. But this is your time to shine.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Absolutely not. You suck as a wife. Thank you for continuing to talk. You suck as a wife. What did he say? Let's go to therapy. Let's. Does that sound like me? Does let's sound like the word me? Me go to therapy. Me go to therapy. Let's go to therapy. That sounds like two different phrases. Let's go to therapy. Us go to therapy. But you decided, no, well, you go in January and I'll just tell me where to be and I'll be there. Girl, shut up. Shut up. You sound stupid. Red flag. So you're already drawing stakes in the ground. And then now you're going to say, well, just tell me, just tell me where to be there. Just tell me where to be. No, ma'am. Y'all get mad when men say, well, just tell me the time and place, I'll be there. But now you're saying, well, just let me know where to be and, you know, I'll be there. But, you know, January, you make sure that you be there. You get yourself fixed because you got a problem. I'm done. Bingo. Bingo, 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 bingo. I'm done. You wonder why you're getting cheated on? Bingo. For at least like this, would you act like this? The marriage is effectively over. It's been over. I know you like to think that, oh, well, since he said, when I heard that, it was, oh, it's been done. It's been done. With the way that you acted? Get a grip.
You want to repair this, then you can do all of the things for therapy. Do you think he did any of that? Ladies, do you think he did any of that? No. Now, I realize that everyone does parenting differently. And I'm not saying that my way is the right way or the wrong way. I don't know that there really is like a hard line of right and wrong way of parenting. But my son is not my soon-to-be ex-husband's child. Now, if he were his child, that would be a different story. I would choose to put my husband first because it's a direct reflection of how a man and a wife should be, and it should be a good example. But because that's not the case, I am responsible for raising an 11-year-old boy to make sure that he turns out to be a decent human being. I'm responsible for giving him experiences. I'm responsible for taking care of him financially. I'm responsible for making sure that my child feels safe, secure, loved, and that he can come to me comfortably and talk to me about anything. That is my job. It is not my job to do that for a 33-year-old man. And contrary to popular belief, his happiness is not my responsibility. And anyone else, please listen. Ladies, gentlemen, everyone, your partner's happiness is their responsibility. The way that they feel about life and walk through life is a direct reflection of the work that they put in, what goes through their mind on a daily basis. And while you're there to support them as a partner, their happiness, general in life, is not your responsibility. My 11-year-old child is 100% my responsibility, and I'm going to take that to the grave. Like I believe that fully, entirely, wholeheartedly. So I will never put a man above my 11-year-old child. And the next person I find, not that I'm really even thinking about that at all, will understand that and will understand what I've been through, or I will not be with anyone else. Because ultimately, I feel like all I really need right now is my son. He needs me and I need him, and that's just kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, respectfully, ma'am, you're cooked. You're cooked. I mean, bordering on loser. You're a loser as a wife, to be honest with you, in my humble opinion.
There were 4 red flags that led me to look through my husband's phone that led to our divorce and me being done with him. And ladies, if you feel or see any of these happening, it's your time to go do the same. So throughout the majority of my relationship with my husband, he did not have any social media. No Snapchat, no Instagram, no TikTok, nothing. All of a sudden, about a couple months ago, he downloaded all 3 apps. He opened a Snapchat. Gross, you're a 33-year-old married man. I digress, Instagram and TikTok. And by the way, do you think that he followed me on the TikTok and the Instagram platform that I have because I don't have Snapchat because like I'm an adult who's married? Do you think he followed me on any of those platforms? No. Do you think he even told me that he had Snapchat, Instagram, and TikTok? No. Red flag number 2, he kept that phone on him all the time. He never left it alone. When he went to the bathroom, he had his phone. When he was sitting in bed and got up to go and do something downstairs, he had his phone with him. He never left it alone. In the majority of our relationship, there were many times, most of the time, he didn't care where his phone even was. He left it out, he left it unlocked, but suddenly over the last few months, he's been keeping that, clung to his hand, never leaving it alone. Red flag. That brings me to red flag number 3. It was the same thing with his Apple Watch. He got a brand spanking new, nice Apple Watch, the newest Apple Watch that you could get. Well, a few months later, I stopped seeing it around the house. We have a public, like, Apple Watch charger, like one in the house that is in the kitchen on the counter. I put my Apple Watch there to charge it. I leave it overnight because I don't have anything to hide in my Apple Watch. But all of a sudden, he stopped using his Apple Watch completely. He not only let it die, but he disconnected his Apple ID from said Apple Watch and stopped using it.
Wait a minute. Don't you have a Cash App? What grown woman puts a Cash App in her bio? Unless she's selling it. Which one?
Why, after you just got a brand new Apple Watch, would you stop using it all of a sudden? Is there something on there that maybe you don't want me to see? Which brings me to the strongest reason, number 4, my female intuition.
Well, before you go on to number 4, I actually bought my wife a watch. She used it for maybe a couple of weeks. Maybe she liked it, loved it, thought it was cute, was switching and changing the bands and all that stuff. And then she stopped using it. So maybe there is another reason. But you're about to tell us about your women's intuition, which, you know, once again, you could have seen that coming plain as day. If y'all are having arguments about him being last priority, how do you think he would feel? But of course, you don't care about that. But go ahead.
It's always right, it's always strong, and it's that feeling at the top of your stomach when everything's kind of twisting and turning, when you know that something is wrong, you don't want it to be wrong, and you really don't want to be right, but unfortunately it always is, which ultimately led me to go and ask him to look through his phone, which is why we are now getting divorced. So ladies, I'm going to say this to you, and I'm going to get a bunch of hate comments from the men about this. If you are married and that man can be deep inside of you, you can be deep inside his phone, and that is it and done. If you have any of those red flags, go through his phone. It may suck what you find, but just remember, when you go through your man's phone, you better be ready to leave. We're on to part 6 of my divorce story, and I'm going to talk about the timeline in which everything happened and when I decided that I was done with my husband. Because I have a lot of comments asking me, wait, are you divorcing your husband because he cheated on you, or are you divorcing your husband because he told you that he didn't love your son? The answer is both. This is the second time I'm recording this because I told this whole story, and then for some reason TikTok only posted a very short clip of it, so we're going to go through it again. So
Well, that's because TikTok knew it was BS and he was trying to save you. But you know what Chris Brown said. They don't want to be saved.
in one of my earlier videos, I had said that my husband and I were having a hard time and that we were sleeping in separate rooms and we're pretty distant for some time. Now, I got a lot of people in the comments saying, well, what do you expect? Like, you were sleeping in separate rooms, or, oh yeah, like that's a dead giveaway sign that your marriage is over. Okay, whatever. But listen, I didn't get married with the intention of giving up after we had a little bit of a hard time. Like, I really only wanted to get married one time, and I took my marriage really seriously. So, like, when we had issues, yeah, we separated for a little bit and we had a little bit of distance, but our purpose was always to come back to each other and attempt to work on things. That's going to lead us to December 1st, our 10-year anniversary.
Well, time out. It ain't leading us nowhere. People told you it was a dead giveaway and you glossed over that. Well, yeah, but my intuition is the strongest. It's not. It's not strong. It's not strong at all. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see what's happening. Yeah, but my intention, darn your intention. Darn that. What's actually going on? What's actually happening is what we need to look at. Come on, man. You're not a magician. You're not a wizard. You're not special, bro.
So that was the night that we got into a really big fight, and he told me that he is frustrated that I put my son above him and that he resents my son for that and doesn't love him and will never be able to love him in the way that I need him to. It was at that point that I knew I was done. I kind of put my hands up. I said, all right, well, like, I love you, but that's kind of it for me. I have to protect my child. I have to make sure that he grows up knowing that he is loved and supported. And unfortunately, that's not with you. And I don't think that you should be with someone who has a kid because you're really selfish. So that's when I told him that I wanted to get a divorce. I'm not really sure what he expected to hear from me, but it wasn't that, because he was like, oh, wait, no, let's go to therapy. I think we can fix this. I don't want to give up. Like, I want to work through things in therapy. At that point, I said to him, okay, well, if you want to go to therapy, you better do all of the things. So you need to find a therapist, you need to set an appointment, you need to tell me when the appointment is, and you need to make a solid effort for therapy. And January is going to be the month that you do that.
Girl, you're involved in it too, stupid. You're involved in it too, stupid. I take my marriage very seriously. Seriously enough to be skipping out on therapy? It's a y'all problem. It's both of y'all's problem. If you have a son that he's saying, well, I feel like you're putting him above me and I feel like I'll never be first priority. I mean, you said over 10 years. We've been together for over 10 years. How come I can't get a little bit more respect? Well, that's just the way it's going to be, and you're going to have to accept it like that. If you're going to be with me, then you're just going to have to accept it like that. Well, hold on. Maybe we should go to therapy then. Well, you can go to therapy. It's all about you. Are you serious? And you say you take your marriage seriously and you're not going to go to therapy? She doesn't hear herself. You just get dumber and dumber.
If that doesn't happen in January, I will be filing for divorce in February. And he said, okay. Now, obviously that did not happen. And for all of the reason that I listed in my other video, I decided to go through his phone. So I was feeling like not so great, kind of insecure. And I went up to him and I said, if you really want to work on things and you really want to go to therapy, I want to see who you are and what kind of a man you are when things between us are not going well. So when we're really distant, I want to see who you are. And to see that, I need to go through your phone. That's when I find it all. The corn every day, the texting multiple young girls telling them that he's single, going over to the coworker's house. I find everything that I need to finally be like, okay, that's who you are. I'm not giving you any more chances. I'm not waiting until February. You are now single. And you know, like in hindsight, when I think back to it, he seemed almost kind of relieved, like he wanted me to find those things because he's too much of a coward to just tell me that he wanted a divorce.
Well, hold on now. Hold on now. Either you got the upper hand or not. You don't get to dictate how that man feels. I'm telling you, that man, you think, this is what I'm saying. You think you have too much control over the relationship and you don't. That man was done with it from the time that you sit up here talking about, well, I'm done with the relationship now. You need to go to therapy if you want to fix it. I know a person like you. And they're miserable, single, and lonely. I know a person like you. Gotta have it. Well, you can come up by groveling. You apologize and you get it right exactly how I want you to. And I want to see how much of a man you are. Just let me go to that phone. Give me that phone right now. Girl, shut your stupid behind up. You should get just dumb. Not smart at all. Why don't you leave people alone? What happened to all those 20 sessions that you had? What happened to those 20 classes that you had to teach? What happened to those? Why are you not teaching those? Maybe you need to add 5-10 more sessions so you don't have the energy to talk this silly. I mean, God dog, you sat up there, you insulted the man. You told the man he wasn't worth nothing. He wasn't never really even going to be worth nothing. You don't compare to my son is basically what you tell him. You never compare. 10 years in the game, you ain't never going to compare to my son. Shoot. You've been sitting here paying, providing for us, protecting. You'll never be. Not ever. You get that out of your head right now. And then you surprised when the man was like, oh, okay. All right. You essentially what you're doing is you've isolated the man. You left the man out on an island and then you wonder why the man goes and does what a man does. Does what he does. He did what he was going to do. Hey, all right. I guess I'm single. Well, you single now. I've been single. Just because you tell me I'm single now, I've been single with the way that you've been acting. That's what I'm saying. Y'all decided, y'all been on it. Well, I just felt like we would come back together and do what? Come back together and bow down to you? That's what you're looking for? Man, you a nobody, bro. You a loser.
Secondly, what I'm learning about this man is that he's a full-grown man-child and a coward. That's what I've taken away from this entire situation. But if I'm being honest, I probably needed something drastic to happen, like me going through his phone and finding out that he had cheated on me, to leave this man, because I would have just gone to therapy if he would have actually taken the action to do that and tried to work it through with him when the situation is very clear. He's not good for me and my son. He doesn't love him the way that he should. And it's really sad that after 10 years of watching you watching a little boy grow up and do all the things together, that you don't love him. And I don't want to be with someone like that. So for those two reasons, we're divorcing. And I also have a ton of you guys asking about my son and how he's doing all of this. And the truth is, he doesn't know. He's young, impressionable, and he's also very sensitive. And he doesn't know that we are separating. And he doesn't know anything yet because my husband can't move out for 2 months. I have to live with him here in this house while we're separated for 2 months. And I want to create a stress-free and drama-free environment for my son. And so we have to try to be nice to each other and try to be decent with each other while we live together for these last 2 months. Now, I don't know how this next 2 months is going to look for me. It's already very hard having to look him in the eye every day and kind of like, you know, step around each other and pretend like nothing is wrong. At least he pretends like nothing is wrong, but I inside just feel so dead inside. So we're going to see how this goes over the next 2 months, and I'll keep you guys updated.
You don't need to keep nobody updated. You need to do something else. You actually need therapy. When she said, well, the truth of the fact of the matter is my son doesn't know. We know that. You don't even have to say that. We know he don't know. We know that you were able to show restraint. You didn't have to blabber and tell your son all the stuff that was going on. So if you was able to show that type of restraint, how come you couldn't close your big mouth when it had to do with his mom? How come you couldn't close your big mouth then? Exactly. A loser. A loser, bro. Listen, man. Once again, I don't want to sit up here and say that man shouldn't have done that. He shouldn't have. I'm not sure what he should do with the way that you was acting. I'm not sure that you want what you want him to do with the way that you was acting. But anybody could have seen this coming from a mile away. You think that I'm last. You treat me like that. I mean, you can put these pictures up where y'all smiling and him dancing with you and all that stuff. You're not on his team. You're not on his team. You strong and independent. You don't need no man. Oh, yeah, he's the only one that can handle me and wrangle me and really put up with who I am. I'm a big person. I'm a lot to put up with. Yeah, okay. Well, he act like most men would. Hey, I'm done with that. I'm checked out. I'm not doing this. I got other stuff to do. That's what that sounds like. And you sitting up here trying to make it seem like he was the one that was wrong in all of this? Nah, man. You need to go to therapy yourself. Fix whatever you got going on.